Hi everybody, Varigani. How are you today? I want to thank you for coming and celebrating Kwanzaa with me again. I had a video made for the fourth night of Kwanzaa and I had so many problems getting it posted that I decided I'm going to do both tonight. So we'll have night 4 and night 5 together on the fifth night of Kwanzaa. So day 4, yesterday, I posted an older video on Facebook and I just kind of posted the principle on Instagram. So I'll read it to you here. The fourth day, which was yesterday, was Ujamaa, which is Cooperative Economics. And it says to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit from them together. And what I really think is important about this is the idea is that if we help ourselves, we can help the world, right? And if we help the world, it also helps us. So supporting each other's businesses is really important. And there has been a lot of focus this year on Black-owned businesses and how do we support Black-owned businesses. And so I want to share some resources that I have with you, but what I want to say about supporting Black-owned businesses is that it's not just about saying, I'm going to go out and find a Black-owned business and I'm going to order something from them to support them. The idea is to find those places in your community that you can become a customer of, that you can build a relationship with, that you can go back to and say, this is where I'm going to buy my books. This is where I'm going to get my coffee. This is where I'm going to order food on date night because we got to order our food in, you know? So to really support them in a sustainable way, not just as a one-time thing, is what I would encourage you to do. I want to share with you what Dr. Karanga has written this year about Ujamaa, because I think it's really, again, the words are so beautiful. So he says, the fourth principle lifts up and promotes the values of shared work and shared wealth. Again, we are only as strong as our weakest member. We're only as rich as our poorest member of our community. The right of all people to a decent and dignity-affirming life, and thus the right of all people to a just and equitable share of the common goods of the world. Right there, just that all people have the right to a decent and dignity-affirming life. I think that is something to remember this year, is how do we make sure that everybody is treated with dignity, that everybody deserves dignity, regardless of how much money you make or what color your skin is. We all deserve that. So usually for Kwanzaa every year, I find there used to be a festival at Lamert Park that I would go to every year, or I would find some sort of event during this time that specifically had a Kwanzaa theme or had Black-owned businesses, and I would go and I would, the Kwanzaa festival was amazing. It was the Kwanzaa Heritage Foundation that hosted it for many years, and I would go, I'd save my money and I would go and get just amazing things, and one of them is this beautiful, beautiful woman here, this warrior woman. Wood carving, so stunning. I have her out all the time. That's where I got this fabric. A lot of things in my home come from these type of events. But now we're in a place where we're doing a lot of shopping online, or we're trying to find these resources. So if you live in the Los Angeles area like myself, you can go to LA Times, the LA Times website, or the Discover Los Angeles website, and they have a lot of information on Black-owned businesses. So that's one way to do it. But if you're living anywhere in the country, or you're looking anywhere in the country, or you're just interested, I did also find a couple websites that are great resources. They're like a search engine for Black-owned businesses of all different kinds, from hair salons to art galleries, to bookstores, to toy stores. I mean, all different things you could be looking for. So I'm going to give you 2 of those websites. So one is officialblackwallstreet.com, and the other is supportblackowned.com. And I'll put these below the video in the description too, but it's officialblackwallstreet.com and supportblackowned.com. Okay, those, it's just kind of a way to look around, maybe find something new that you didn't know was, you know, right around the corner from you, which has happened to me a lot. So let's light the candle for Ujamaa, and then we'll talk about night 5. So we're going to first light our unity candle. This was Umoja. We're going to come over and light our second candle. Night 2, that was Kujichagulia, that was self-determination. Night 3 was Ujamaa, which was collective work and responsibility. Night 4, there we go, Ujamaa, Cooperative Economics. Now, night 5. All right, so the 5th night of Kwanzaa, I will just hold it up so we're not near the fire on it. I'll hold it up right here. Is NIA. And NIA is purpose. This night is another one, kind of like Kujichagulia, that just, I get emotional about this night. So first I'll read you from the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles, what it says here. To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. So when I first started kind of studying Kwanzaa and learning about it, I understood what the principles were. They made sense to me as I read them. But over the years, sometimes a certain word will stick out, or I'll wonder what something really means, and I'll go and look it up. And so one year I looked up vocation, because I thought it was interesting that that word was used. And the thing that I love about that is to make it our collective vocation. So it's not just like make it something we want to do for fun. A vocation is something, is a task at hand, like it takes work to do. And so it's really to make it our vocation to build and develop our community is putting a responsibility on all of us to really work for what we want to see in the world, if that makes sense. I'll read you what Dr. Karenga says, and then I'll share with you my purpose. So one of the things that he points out here is that, he talks again about collective vocation here. But he also says, so it reaffirms the interrelatedness of the pursuit of African and human good and the well-being of the world. For it remembers and reaffirms the sacred teachings of our ancestors that the good we do for others and the world, we are also doing for ourselves. For we are building the moral community and good world we all want and deserve to live in. So it kind of pulls together a lot of the ideas, as I mentioned earlier, the idea of doing for yourself does for the world does for yourself. But just the understanding that anytime a community is supporting itself, and the intention of that is good, I should say. If the intention is good in supporting your own community, that by doing that, you're also supporting the world. So by supporting a Black-owned business, for example, doesn't mean that you're excluding other businesses. It means that if you support Black-owned, then Black-owned businesses can support the rest of the community. And wouldn't that be great, right? So my purpose is working with children and families. And I do a lot of different things. If you know me personally, you know that I do a lot of different things. And they don't always maybe relate to working with children, but the end goal for me is always to be working with children and families. And so what I added to the table here, and this is actually something I probably should have had from the beginning, but I didn't. I actually kind of forgot to do it. Is you'll often see on a Kwanzaa table ears of corn, and the corn is a representative of children and the idea that children are our future. And so you're supposed to have on your table as many ears of corn as children you either have in your home or in your family. And they say to put at least 2. So I don't have my own kids yet. We'll get there. But you should have at least 2 on there. And what's special to me about this corn, aside from its symbol for Kwanzaa, for me, it reminds me of my trip to Kenya, where I went and worked at a children's home. And as I tell the story, I'm going to light actually the candle for today so we can have that start. So now, look, we're moving over our purpose. We're moving over into the green, to prosperity, to our future. Moving over here for night 5. So in Kenya, corn is a very, very important crop. It is, they actually do call it maize, which when they told me that, I was surprised, because growing up in Southern California, when I hear maize, I think of Mexican culture and the Mexican word for corn. But they call it maize there in Kenya as well. And corn grows very easily in Kenya. And what that does, when you're in a culture or in a country that is not as wealthy maybe as other countries, that's not importing food as well, you use what is available to you, and corn is available. And so they have a lot of dishes that are made from corn in all different ways. And Ugali is the name of one of them, and I'm gonna see, I have a video that I posted of the kids cooking the Ugali, because the older kids would help the cook make the food and then split it up to serve all the kids, and then they serve, you know, the youngest kids up to the oldest kids, and they make this Ugali is kind of a very dense like cornmeal dish, and it's a very filling food, and it's sustainable. It's something that's easily accessible. They can make food to nourish their bodies when maybe there's not other things available. And they warned me, even though it was delicious, they warned me, we eat this every day, but you can't. So I said, why? And they're like, your body's not used to it. And they were right. I had to take breaks from it because I'm not used to it. But corn is one of the main centers of African cooking sometimes. So I see this corn, it reminds me of the children that I work with, and it reminds me of that trip to Kenya. In working with families, the reason why that I feel that is my purpose is because I truly believe, as does many aspects of African culture, believe that children are our future, and not in the song sense, and not in the same sense as here in America, I feel, because sometimes we lose track of that. We think of them as our future in terms of like, we have to educate them, we have to do da 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 da. What it is in Africa is that when you look at children and embrace them as our future, it means that every child matters, and every child needs to be supported from every adult. So there's not this feeling of that's your kid and that's your kid. It's like, these are our children. There's that collective feeling. And I felt that when I was there, and I feel that when I look back at everything we did. The minute I said I was there to work with children, to anybody I met in Kenya, I was embraced with love. I was embraced with love generally, but then when they found out I was working with kids, they were like, oh, thank you, you know, because every child matters to the collective moving forward of their society. So that's my thoughts. I had to, I'm sorry if it seems long-winded, but I get very excited about the fifth night, about our purpose. and I invite you to share your purpose with me. You can message me, you can leave a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, the comments are turned off because these videos are marked as being made for children, just to keep them safe so there's no weird ads or anything like that. So unfortunately you cannot comment on YouTube, but you can comment on Instagram or on Facebook, and I encourage you to share your purpose and to think about that today. Okay? Have a great night. Tomorrow is the 6th night of Kwanzaa. It's also New Year's Eve. And the principle for tomorrow is creativity. It's Kumba. Okay? Kumba for creativity. So let's think about what we can do to be creative. All right? Have a great night. Heri za Kwanzaa. Thanks for joining me. Bye.